Thank you for the opportunity today. And look, the topic I wanted to talk about was the anatomy of a payment redirection scam. Look, I'm going to start this by giving you the lessons first. And the reason why I'm going to do this is this very common sense stuff, but not always practiced by companies. And it's usually by some employees do it, others don't. But it's really important that if you're looking at cybersecurity, can't emphasize enough, strong passwords is absolutely critical. And when I mean strong, it's got to be at least 8 in best 14 characters and alphanumeric with symbols. Very important. The next lesson you'll learn is when you're paying an invoice and someone rings up to change the bank details or sends you an email, it's really important to verify that by the phone, not verified via email. And I'll give you a case study as to why that's the case. Thirdly, absolutely enabling your staff to be aware of the threats and what to do through security awareness training is a must. Now, that's on the assumption that all the IT controls, which are highlighted in black below, are done as well. So it's a combination of both human and technical controls. Next slide, please. Why this is important is, I think it's a stat that we're probably familiar with, but 43% of cybercrime is targeted at small businesses. This is an example there where you can see a local real estate firm, this is just earlier this year, got tricked to a fake invoice scam, which is a payment redirection scam. And it's cost them a lot more than the $26,000 that they paid out to the scammer. As you can see, there was really bad publicity. It made the ABC News. And also they've got a proliferation of lawyers they're dealing with to help battle the issue. Now, cybercrime only works because of human error. And that's where it's so successful, because people do make mistakes. So just go to the next slide and I'll explain why this is important. Now, what's happening in the world of cyber crime, there's been a game changer in the last few months, and it's been highlighted by this report by the Australian Signals Directorate. That's the top peak body of the federal government's cybersecurity team. This report is a must read for any small business. It's only 6 pages. And if you just type in ASD in the chat, I'll make sure that you get sent a copy. It's really worth a read, because what it exposes you to is the way this underlying ecosystem is developing on the dark web. Now, the big takeaway with this slide is you'll see there we've got hackers in this frame of actually going through the process of scamming a business. What's important is you can see there's one color is green, the other color is blue, and one's gray. This is the ecosystem working to really high power the cyber threats that you're seeing. Now, there's a tool called Redline Info Stealer, which is a malware tool that's being sold on the dark web as a SaaS-based tool. So anyone with low skills watching a YouTube video can learn how to use it. So you're getting very low skilled people being able to hack into systems. Next slide, please. What's driving this further is that with these low skilled tools, you've got this ecosystem developing. Now, what's feeding into this to accelerate this is when you have a mass dump of data from a Ticketed, Optus or Medicare, which is happening frequently, it's building up this huge amount of data that can be accessible to these hackers. And when you combine that with people working at home, they're usually going through their browser to log into work, and a lot of people put their password of their company work in their browser, which is a very risky situation. And then you've got a whole lot of profile on those people in social media. So this builds up a very clear picture of what that person is. So when there's a phishing attack, it can be very accurately aimed at people. The other problem that's arising is because of these large breaches of companies, the cost of accessing this data on the dark web is getting much lower. For example, Russian market at the moment is selling subsets of huge data leaks for $10. So it's just affordable. It's very, very scary. Now, you see on the left there, you've got this low-skill worker in green. They're usually teenage hackers. They download the malware, sell it to a broker in the middle. The broker advertises it on the dark web, and then the higher skilled hackers get this very accurate information and target companies. And the scary thing is on the left, you'll see that the increase in posting malware tools on the web has increased 300% in the last 12 months. So it's a very dynamic, fast-growing sector of crime. Next slide, please. Now, if we look at the anatomy of a payment redirection scheme, this is where someone's received a fake invoice, basically, and then been tricked into paying it, similar to our case study. Now, you see the little ecosystem on the left. There's actually multiple players involved with this. So there's very little chance of them getting caught. They all skim the ticket to get some money out of it, and it's a hugely growing sector of cybercrime. So the first highlighted in green there is where the low-skilled hacker goes in and plants the malware and scrapes off information from the browser, sells it to the broker then sells it to the experienced guy who can go in there, and you'll see there they'll go in and look at the emails within your system and start looking at invoices that are being paid, and they'll wait for a big invoice. So they could be sitting there for 6 months just watching. Once they find one that looks meaty enough, they'll then actually create a similar invoice and then actually send it through to get paid. And then typically the client or the business will look at it, think, yep, we'll pay it. And that's how it operates. It's a very simple process, but I'll talk to you about the lessons learned at the end, how it's so easy to stop this happening if you followed some basic procedures. But it all relies on human error, basically. Next slide, please. Now, if you look at the case study here, I won't go into the detail on the left, but if you look on the right, it's got a little email trail. Now, this is published by the ABC and News, so it's a real case and there's real people involved here. Now, you'll see there that the hacker was monitoring the email system, and on the right, there's a communication about a change of payment details. And the company actually thought they were doing the right thing because the change of details came in. They sent an email back to the person saying, are you sure which payment should we be processing the payment through to? Now, the hacker was monitoring this, and within 6 minutes of that email requesting verification, they responded and gave them a new account, and then the person changed
8 minutes, Richard.
Yes, changed the payment, and then it went out and they lost the $26,000. Now, the tip in the red underneath is always verify any bank change details, not by email, but by telephone. Pick them up, call the person, and then make sure it's right. And that's very good for your brand as well, because it gives that client confidence that you are concerned about their welfare. So it's a very positive thing to do, and it will stop this from happening. Next slide, please. So once again, to the mitigation, use strong passwords. I recommend a password manager. Don't keep them in your browser. Also, verify change in bank account details. Make that a policy in your company from tomorrow. Do it straight away, and also conduct cyber awareness training. And also, I'd recommend you consider cyber insurance as well. Next slide, please. And where we can help is in security awareness and monitoring behaviour. Next slide, please. And we can do phishing simulations, training online, and threat intelligence as part of security awareness. Next slide. And then we also have the capability through another service to monitor sensitive files. And you'll see there the employees in the middle, and then you'll see how they're transferring sensitive data out through human error and also through malicious intent. And the last one is on that person on the right there. This is a typical case where someone's resigned. They think, I'm going to use your IP in my new job role, and send your IP to their personal email address. This tool allows you to pick that up and alert you to that. So it's a very useful product. Next slide, please. So I hope you've learned something about it. I'd love to open this up for any questions. Thank you.